Hey everyone, welcome to Millennium Computer's online 5-minute tutorial series. Today's course is dedicated to fast budget and forecasting, and we're going to answer that big, huge global question: how do I get budget development information into my ERP or my database? Now, this is a really big mouthful, and so we have dedicated training videos that are really going to walk us through each of these steps and components in a really methodical way. But I thought we'd make a quick how do I video to just give you a high-level overview of all the different components involved and make sure you have a nice concise view of all the necessary steps. Okay, so we're gonna cruise through this, so be sure to check out the full-length videos for all the detail, but I wanna make sure we cover this in a how do I video as well. So number one, we need to make sure we have a budget series already created. Now, to find a budget series or create a budget series, we're gonna select Budget Admin and just simply select Manage Budget Series. Now, this would typically be one of those setup steps you'll have done already, and the same goes for creating change numbers. So I have 2 budget series here, and the most important thing is whichever series you're going to want to post to in your database or your ERP needs to have the allow post indicator. And if we want to be able to approve those end user requests, they also need to have the request indicator. So as long as those 2 check marks are checked, we're good to move on to the next step. So next step is we now need to approve development records using one of 3 methods. I'm going to pick one, but be sure to check out the approval tutorial to show you all those different methods available. Under development, there's an option called approvals, and you can either do this globally or I like to use the departmental approvals. So let's take a look at this guy. Okay, so first step, we need to select a dev series. Now, keep in mind here, you guys, we're working in the dev series world at this point in time, and very quickly we're going to transition to the budget series world, and those are distinct buckets. So step 1, we're going to select a dev series. I'm going to select my draft 5. Now, if you're running budget development as an iterative process, you're already going to have created a number of development series, and as you build on those series, you're going to come closer and closer to your final product. In this case, this could potentially have been my last development series, and I'm now ready to approve those records and roll the data in them to my ERP. I'm not going to add any extra filters here, but you're certainly welcome to refine this by fund org account combination if you'd like to, by budget type, or any other number of criteria. So I have a total of 61 records here. Now, keep in mind, your institution could have literally thousands and thousands of records here, or you could also be running this, as I said earlier, as more of an iterative approval process. So right over here on the right-hand side, we see our approval statuses. Now, I can come in here once a day or once a week if I want to, and just manually change statuses from pending to approved or denied. Anytime I save those records, they're going to be locked from edits and saved for the next time. So this could certainly be something where I'm coming in periodically, or different end users could be coming in to actually make those changes. If I am actually ready to roll all of these records to my budget series, I can do this as one shot, or I can do it in a series of back and forths. If I want to apply a status of approved to all these records, I know they're good to go. Let me just click on approve and apply and save status. Now these guys are all approved, and so I'm actually ready now to apply those to a budget series. If some of these happen to be denied, that's okay too. They're just not going to post to my budget series. From the dropdown, I'm going to select one of my budget series, and I'm going to select a change number. Now, your change numbers are going to be logical numbering sequences for all the data that flows through to the ERP. You could have more than one change number available. Just make sure you're selecting the correct one for your institution's business rules. I'm going to click on the Submit button. So now we have effectively pushed all of those line items from my development series, Draft 5, into my budget series. They have now landed in what's called the Fast Budget and Forecasting subledger. Let me show you where that is. Under Budget Admin, we're going to go to the Edit Approved Budgets subledger. We can modify this by transaction type if we'd like to, or leave it as the default, which is Show All. And then I'm going to choose the budget series I just posted to and execute that report. Now, this is called the Edit Budgets subledger. As I mentioned earlier, this is going to potentially be an iterative process. You could be pushing a dozen records a day, you could be pushing a couple hundred records a day, and ultimately they'll all end up in this same budget series bucket. Ultimately, this is what's going to form your base budget in your ERP once you're ready to push that in one big lump sum into your database. At this point in time, if I have the correct role to do so, I can actually make edits to my individual line items. Because this batch number column is not populated, I know these rows and transactions are still open for edits. Last step is going to be to create a batch to post to our ERP. We're going to leave Budget Admin and we're going to go to the Accounting System dropdown. We're going to click on Create Submit Batches. And here there are 3 distinct steps we need to follow. And this is where you really want to make sure we get this right. I'm going to choose a budget series. I'm going to choose a change number and just simply click View Selected Batch. Now this is just simply a view-only record of this page. It simply allows me to take a look at the details, make sure this is actually the correct line items that I'm trying to post from a budget series into my ERP. That's step 1. Step 2 is to click on Create Batch. Create Batch allows me to choose either detailed records or summary records, which is going to prompt me to add a detailed description that will be applied to each record. Let's choose detailed records. Let's choose an ERP effective date. Now, the only real tricky part about this page is we need to ensure that we've selected an open fiscal period in our ERP. Let's click on a date. Let's click that same budget series and the same change number. All we're doing here is reiterating the steps from the first tab, and then click Create Batch. We're going to get a batch number. We're going to get natural totals, absolute totals, budget, and a record count. Now, the important thing to note here is we do suggest you take a screenshot of this. For every 9,999 records, FAST will create an individual and unique batch number. It's sometimes nice to capture these in a screenshot so you have them later to reconcile and confirm. Final step, and this is a role-based step, is to click Submit Batch. Now, if you do not have the correct role to submit batches, you're actually not even going to see this 3rd tab. And if you do see it, it means you have the right role. Let's click on Submit Batch. Let's find the batch we just created. And then our 2 options are Submit Selected Batch and Cancel Selected Batch. Now, as soon as we click Submit, it is gone through to the GL, it is posted to our ERP, and the data is going to flow through to Fast Finance Reporting as soon as the data warehouse refreshes. If, on the other hand, I click Cancel Selected Batch, it's my last chance to back out of the last 3 steps in case I've made an error or I want to double check anything before proceeding. This is really your last chance to make a correction. So at this point, you want to be 100% sure you're actually ready to post that budget to your ERP. I hope this was a helpful introduction on getting development data approved and rolled into your ERP.